pleased certainly to be here. This is a time of the year where there's certainly a great deal of optimism, and as a head coach, a lot of anxiety as well as you put the whole piece together. But coming into the season, we're really excited coming off a foreign tour. We went to Italy and Germany and had a great trip, both from a experience standpoint and also from a development standpoint on the court. I think the guys grew over the summer, and as a team we grew in a variety of ways. As we go into the season, I'm really excited about the pieces we have. We're a little bit lean on numbers. We've had, obviously, KZ go to the NBA. Cody Pugh messed up his knee, and he'll be out for the season. Trevor Stanback is a medical hardship. So in terms of sheer numbers, we're down a little bit. But, again, with the numbers or the guys we have, we're certainly very excited.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up to questions. Don't be shy. Please feel free to join us on the stage and the student athletes in the back of the room.
That's a great opening statement.
Coach, I'm doing a story on ASU going to China, and I know that you took a team to China your first year. So I kind of wanted to get your input on what that trip meant to you and what you got out of it.
Yeah, with the China trip, it was certainly a great experience for our guys. I felt like we had a group that really enjoyed the experience and kind of took all that was there. And it was my first game as a head coach, so it was kind of obviously a new experience and that kind of thing, but I thought it was a first-class event. It was great for us to play Harvard, and overall it was a real positive. Coming back, that was challenging, because you get back and you're playing games almost immediately and figuring out the time change and that kind of thing. But from a, culturally, it was an unbelievable experience, a high-level competition, and just an overall first-class event.
Okay, thanks.
Coach, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I saw, was it Brice who got a chance to get in some nice runs with some pro players over the summer. I was just wondering, he really showed some nice flashes as a freshman. How do you see him kind of developing as a sophomore?
Yeah, with Brice Wills, we're looking at a guy that needs to have a great year for us. And he is a high-level athlete, extremely intelligent, understands the game, fantastic at getting to the paint and being a slasher. Without question, could be one of the best defensive guards in the conference. But also needs to continue to learn the game, to learn to trust his jump shot, to continue to get reps shooting the basketball. So he's less one-dimensional and truly multi-dimensional on the offensive end.
And where would you like to see Dejan grow this season?
Well, number one, and we've seen this growth in the summer and in the beginning of practice right now, is just maturity and handling adversity. We've talked a lot about mental toughness, leadership, those kind of catchphrases, but really talk about what that means. And I think he's really embraced it this summer. The first 5 or 6 practices we've had, I think he's been a great leader to the younger guys. He's handled himself with a great deal of maturity. On the court, he and Brice can be truly elite defenders. When he's at his best offensively and as a complete player, he's as good as there is. I mean, he can be an all-conference type player. But what's hindered him in the past is when times are tough or when adversity hit, it affected him. And I think in the off season right now, I think he's in a position where he understands that, and not only that, is really pushed through and handled adversity well. So that'll be another challenge once the games start.
So much talk about this fair pay-to-play act and everything. How much do you pay attention to that? How much are you trying to learn about it, if at all, and just any general thoughts on the state of it, what impact it's truly?
No, that's a great question with SB 206 and just the national narrative right now with name, image, and likeness, and the whole issue at hand. I think is an interesting topic. I do try and educate myself on it. I think it's an important time. I think there's kind of 2 ways to look at it. One is philosophically, where do you stand, and then practically, how are things applied? And I think certainly it needs to get a lot of smart people need to get in a room and try and get everybody on the same page. I think it would be important that at the end of this, there's a unified plan and a unified voice and that kind of thinks through everything, because I think my biggest concern is just the idea of what we don't know. And I know there's a lot of different points of view on it, and I think I respect all of those and appreciate all of those, but I also believe that really need to think not only about the obvious things, about the specifics, what happens initially, but really try and think through what all the consequences will be. But I think that's something that needs to be a lot of dialogue and a lot of smart people thinking through it, and a lot of different organizations communicating.
Bob Myers from the Warriors was here earlier talking about the Al Adels Classic, which is going to start being played at Chase Center. What do you think about having a venue like that, and what it offers as far as hosting a college basketball, maybe putting the spotlight on college basketball a little bit more around here?
We're certainly anxious to get to the Chase Center and play in that tournament. It'll be fantastic. It's another experience for our guys to experience a new venue and experience new things. So excited for the challenge. Really proud to be part of that first college games in the Chase Center, and hopefully it'll be a nice catalyst to at that point getting close to the end of our non-conference schedule.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, great. So nobody's up here talking to you anymore. I gotta take a picture of you. Pretend it's open for people.
I meant to ask you about Oscar De Silva as well. I mean, a couple of years ago, plus 50 from the three-point line. Obviously, he has a shooting stroke. Where would you like to see him grow?
Yeah, with Oscar, he is a complete player and needs to continue to be a focus with our entire offense and defense. But with him, I think the confidence, the realization that he is an elite level player, he needs to really come to grips with that. We'll certainly do a lot of different things to get him the basketball in different ways, and part of it, and only part of it, is his shooting. And he does need to shoot the open shots, and does need to shoot a better percentage. He doesn't need to shoot 56 or 55% like he did his freshman year, but also needs to shoot a little better than he did last year. So he's worked extremely hard in the offseason. I think his confidence is growing in the shot, and as his shot goes in, I mean, he's a natural playmaker. He can score inside and out, and he's one of the guys that, and I think we have a variety of guys that can make others better around him.
And how big of a benefit was it for you to have the international trip this offseason to get the extra practices in, going ahead of this season?
Yeah, the timing was fantastic for the international trip. It was an opportunity for the guys to get to know each other better and to really, work on the cohesiveness of the team and get the guys really buying into just the whole plan that we're kind of executing right now. And the guys were fantastic. I mean, from a experience standpoint, they just absolutely loved and ate up every part of the tour. And then from a basketball standpoint, I think we laid a foundation. And I think we're clear going in to the season right now that we know what our roadmap needs to be. And now we need to coach it, and players need to execute that plan to have some success.
Probably missed it while I was up eating too many extra sandwiches. Health-wise, where are you at? I mean, compared to last year, I mean,
Yeah, the health piece, if there's the most important factor for our team this year, it's probably going to be health. We actually have Trevor Standback's in a medical hardship, and so he'll be done, and he's helping out with the team, but he won't be playing. Cody Pugh, injured his knee, and he'll be out for the season. Obviously, KZ went pro, so just from a number standpoint, we're down, and we don't have a full complement of players necessarily. But having said that, the guys we have, we're really excited about. But that goes back to the number one factor being injury prevention. If we can keep guys on the floor, I like what we have, but we just need to make sure we keep them out there.
it's a hard line to walk. I mean, you want to push them, you want to work hard and everything like that. I mean, given what's happened the last couple of years, I mean, you almost get scared or reluctant to really, hey, we got to ramp it up, we got to be ready. But it's been the biggest drawback.
No, for sure. It's been a challenge within the program, but I have a philosophically about how we practice and how we go about things, and I don't think we're going to completely change things and stop going live and practice. But it's always in my mind that we need to make sure the guys stay healthy, and we're doing that in a variety of different ways. We're addressing it in different ways that I'm excited about, and see if we can execute the plan of staying healthy.
Will the three-point line be, it's obviously a factor. Big difference? Not really. You see teams adjust, like a lot of people will really adjust to it, or not.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah, I don't foresee the 3-point line change being a major impact. I don't think there will be a ton less shots. I don't think the percentages will go down a ton. Well, they'll probably both go down a little bit. I think the biggest impact is going to be the corner shots when guys are going and shooting the corner, that they step out of bounds as they get used to the spacing and things. So I do think turnovers are going to go up while guys are shooting the 3-point shots from the side. I think that'll be as much of an impact early as anything. But overall, I think the game itself is good with the more space and freedom of movement. I don't foresee it, again, having major impacts on the game.
Coach, how do you handle social media with your team? Do you instill any kind of policies, or are you ever concerned about, it's not a new phenomenon, but about them getting feedback through their social media accounts?
Yeah, with social media, I'd probably fall on the side of encouraging our guys to use it. I mean, Stanford basketball team is a way to brand them and to build their brand. And we obviously talk about using common sense in everything they do, which we have guys that are absolutely fantastic. And so one of the things we talk about is obviously don't do silly things and put it on social media, because it does last, but it's also a way to build your brand and tell your story. And we have guys that have such great stories that we think it's a real positive. So if anything, we would encourage the guys to get out there. And the reality too is that we have a lot of guys that by choice don't use it a lot or kind of minimalize that part of it.
Have you ever seen any ill effects from, as far as like they've gotten feedback, or they've seen, or people have criticized them, on social media, and they've seen that and that's affected them?
Yeah, with social media, I think there's so many influences there. We talk to our guys all the time about trying to keep the circle of influence tight and really focus on the things they need to be focusing on. But both negative and positive feedback comes through social media. And we talk about and try and preach the idea that with all of that, take it with a grain of salt. Generally you're not as great when people are patting you on the back, and you're not as bad when things aren't going well. But we do have a group of guys that have unbelievably high character. They're grounded. They have a pretty good perspective on things. And so I don't have any specific examples of good or bad things that have really come from specific social media circumstances.
We have time for one more, if any.
I know he's sitting in the back, but he's my local guy. What's Dejan's next? I mean, I know you've talked to him, but I don't know whether it's out. What's his next step, or what does he need to do?
So the next step, I think his game is going to flourish as he has the stability on the court mentally, and not getting too high or too low. He's as dynamic of a person as I've ever been around. And when things are good, I mean, he can take an entire team with him to really good spots. And when he gets frustrated or struggles, he really takes the team with him some. And I think so far he's really off to a great start with that stability part. And I think his game, as he gets more and more consistent with handling adversity, I think his game is going to absolutely flourish. The next piece for him also is the leadership piece of the team. Last year I did not name a captain because I didn't think anybody deserved it. And this year as we go through, I'm hoping that we're able to name a captain or captains to have that leadership. But he is certainly, with his personality, in a position to be a fantastic leader. And we'll kind of see where it goes from there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's all we have time for with Stanford. Coach, thanks for your time.
Thank you.